Hello, welcome to day 40 of Watching Me Learn Spanish. If you've been following along, you know that I have been very sick with a virus. Um, I am starting to feel a lot better, and I think that if this was the beginning of the week, I would do an intense lesson as usual. But since we're sort of towards the end of the week, I'm going to just finish the goal that I set out at the beginning of the week, which is to complete the all of the tracks in the language transfer series. I have 8 more tracks to go. Today I'll do about 3. Tomorrow a few more, and I should easily finish up by Saturday. Um, and then next week, feeling a lot better and getting back on track. So let's get right into track 83.
What was the word for what or that?
Que,
¿Qué?
Que. And what was the word for to buy?
comprar.
Comprar.
Comprar. Good. So if we wanted to say something like, that you bought it is not my problem, that you might have bought it is not my problem, the fact that you bought it is not my problem, we can just start with que and put the verb in the mood tense, and we get this feeling. The fact that you may have bought it.
Que
We're doing the same
compres.
thing in English. May have. With this may, we are getting some mood. So, let's start. Speaking informally. That you bought it, that you may have bought it.
Que compres.
So comprar becomes compraron. Comprara. Compraras.
Good.
¿Qué? Compraras.
Oh, in the past, okay. Compraron. Comprarás. Compraron. Comprarás.
Don't forget your it, just
Okay.
because you're concentrating so much on the verb, huh?
Que lo
¿Qué? Lo
comprarás.
compraras.
Is not my problem.
No
No es mi problema.
es mi problema.
Good. Que lo compraras no es mi problema.
Que lo
Maybe you want to say
compraras
something
no es
like,
mi
that you
problema.
told him is not my problem. So, to tell, we can use decir, to tell or to say, or contar, we saw as well. Contar means to count or to recount. So let's use contar. So, that you told him, the fact that you told him is not my problem. Speaking in
Contaron, contaron, contarás, contarán, contarás. Que lo contarás no es mi problema.
speaking informally still.
¿Qué? Contaras. Que le contaras no es mi problema.
Que le contaras no es mi problema. Good. In English, I should say, although I have this London English, so often I don't say, I should say, if I were you. Now, I was is the normal past tense, no? From to be, I was. So we change was to were to get the past mood tense in English. If I were you, hypothetical past. In Spanish, whenever we speak about the past hypothetically after si, after if, we will use the mood tense. So, for example, what was the verb to be able to, can, related to power?
Poder.
Poder.
Poder. Now, if you want to make the they form in the past, they could, they were able to, there's a slight change. The pod that you would be left with after taking air away from poder turns to put. Put. So how would you say they were able to, using the point in the past?
Pudieron.
Pudieron.
Pudieron. Good. So from this base, we can form the mood tense. So if you wanted to say something like, if I could cook, I would cook. So, if I could,
Si pudiera.
Si pudiera.
To cook
Si pudiera cocinar,
or to kitchen?
cocinar,
Good. Si pudiera cocinar, I would cook. So to find would, you must look back at I would like, it would please me.
me gustaría cocinar.
me gustaría,
Good. So there you have your would. So I would cook.
cocinaría,
Good. Si pudiera cocinar, cocinaría.
Cocinar.
How would you say if I could cancel it, I would? So if I could cancel it, I would cancel it.
Si si pudiera cancelarlo, lo cancelaría.
si pudiera cancelarlo,
I would. So I would cancel it.
lo cancelaría,
Good. Si pudiera cancelarlo,
Si pudiera cancelarlo, cancelaría.
lo
cancela-
cancelaría.
lo
Good.
cancelaría.
What was to have? The to have that we use to go into the past.
Tener.
haber,
Haber. Now, when haber goes into the point in the past, that first bit ab of haber, when you take off your er, it changes for the point in the past. It becomes ub, H-U-B. So how would you say they had, using the point in the past, going from haber, and this ab of haber will become ub when we make the point in the past.
hubieron,
Hubieron. Good.
Hubieron.
So we can say, if you had told me it. So speaking informally, if you had told me it, how would you say that? If you had told me it,
Si me hubieras.
si me lo hubieras contado,
good. Si me lo hubieras contado, I would
Si me lo hubieras contado,
have gone. So if you had told me it, I would have gone. So now
habría or habría ido.
now we need would have. We leave everything else at the door. So how do we get would have from haber?
habría,
Habría.
habría,
Good. The E falls away. Habría. So I would have gone.
Ido.
habría ido,
Good. So altogether, if you had told me it, I would have gone.
Si me lo hubieras contado, habría ido.
si me lo hubieras contado, habría ido,
Good. Si me lo hubieras contado, habría ido. If we had known, we would have gone. If we had known, we would have gone.
si hubiéramos sabido,
We would have
Si hubiéramos sabido, habríamos ido.
gone.
habríamos ido,
Good. What is to see?
Ver.
ver,
Ver. And what is they saw? Point in the past.
Ven.
vieron,
Vieron.
Vieron.
What was my house?
Mi casa.
mi casa,
Mi casa. Your house informally?
Tu casa.
tu casa,
Tu casa. You remember how to say his house, her house, your house formally,
Su casa.
their house?
su casa,
Su casa. Good. So how would you say, if you saw their house? If you saw their house.
si
Si vieras su casa,
vieras Su casa.
Good. Si viera su casa. How would you say if you saw it, you would understand it? Let's speak formally. If you
Si la viera.
saw it, you would understand it. Speaking formally.
Si la viera.
Si lo viera, comprendía. Comprendería.
Good.
Comprendía is the tense, isn't it?
The line in the past, very good. Si lo viera, lo comprendería. Or we could use entender, which also means to understand. Si lo viera, lo entendería. Instead of comiéramos. But how much that alternative form is used really depends on the dialect. The main way, the most common way of using the past subjunctive is the one that we've learned here. And there's no difference between the two in meaning. They are just two versions of the same tense. So you don't need to worry about using hablase instead of hablara, for example, but you would need to recognize it if you hear it or read it somewhere. So now we really do have the panorama of all times and moods in Spanish. So now that's everything. That's every tense, including both the idea of time and the idea of mood. We've learned how to construct them all, and we should really listen actively to refresh any knowledge that we might need to refresh through our exposure to Spanish. No? Analyzing always what we hear, and if you're listening to a song or a movie, maybe you just hear the endings of the verbs at the beginning. But if you can identify what that ending means, that's the important bit. In the same way, this course has been focused equally on the process that we go through in building our structures in Spanish, as it has been focused on content. So half of the point of this course has been content, has been teaching you Spanish, and the other half has been how to manage Spanish, how to manage these elements that we've learned, how to think about this information and how to relate to information generally in a new way, how to find things that you think you might have forgotten. We've also looked now and then at some irregularities in Spanish, verbs or other words that don't follow the rules that we learnt. Now, the older the language, the more irregularities it tends to have. Spanish, effectively being modern Latin, is quite prone to irregularities. But the irregularities can be made sense of within themselves. You can group together irregularities. So whilst throughout the course we were looking at the odd irregularity as it popped up, now at the end of the course we are going to tidy up the irregular verbs. So there are a group of verbs which we can call the go verbs. These are the verbs that use go instead of o for the I form. For example, how do you say to have? To have, for possession.
Tener.
Tener.
Tener. And I have?
Tengo.
Tengo.
Tengo. So this go pops up for the I version, but only for the I version. How do you say he has or she has? You formal have.
Tiene.
Tiene.
Tiene. And you informal?
Tienes.
Tienes.
And they?
Tienen.
Tienen.
Tienen. And we?
Tenemos.
Tenemos.
Tenemos. So the go is only popping up for the I version. What was to come?
Venir.
Venir.
Venir. Good. I come?
Vengo.
Vengo.
Vengo. So here we have the go again. But he comes?
Viene.
Viene.
Viene. They come?
Vienen.
Vienen.
You informal?
Vienes.
Vienes.
We?
Venemos.
Venemos. Venimos.
Venimos. Good. So we have this go popping up just for the I form. We've seen other verbs like this. What was to go out or to leave?
Salir.
Salir.
Salir. And I go out or I leave?
Salgo.
Salgo.
Salgo. To put?
Poner.
Poner. And I put?
Pongo.
Pongo.
Pongo. Good. We have decir, to say or to tell, and we get digo, which is even more irregular, but we see the go. We have hacer, to make or to do, and we get hago, oír, which means to hear, oír. And we have oigo, I hear, traer. Traer means to bring, and I bring is traigo. So
Traigo.
to bring is T-R-A-E-R, traer, and then I is traigo. It takes an extra I. So here we get traigo. Traer is interesting because traer means to bring, but when it forms part of another verb, we can translate it like tract. For example, extraer means
Extract.
extract,
good. How would you say attract?
atraer,
Atraer. Contract.
Contraer.
contraer,
Distract.
Distraer.
distraer,
Good. I distract.
Distraigo.
distraigo,
Distraigo. I distract. Or you could say I get distracted. Me distraigo. Good.
Distraigo.
So these go verbs are a little bit special and they behave quite irregularly, but more or less in the same way. One of the things they do in the same way is that in the mood tense, instead of switching vowels like the rest of the verbs do in the mood tense in the present, they go from go to ga. So whilst in the normal present this go only pops up for I, we have tengo, tiene, tienes, tienen, tenemos. The ga for the mood tense is for everybody. So we get tenga for I, he, she, it, and you formal. How would you make it informal?
Tengas.
tengas,
Exactly. So, if you were to say, I want you to come, I want that you come, speaking
Quiero
informally.
que
So, I
vengas.
want that.
quiero que,
Good. Now we want you come and we want the mood tense version. So,
Vengas.
it's a go verb. So, our base for the mood tense is venga. So, if you want to speak informally and say, I want that you come, I want you to come,
quiero que vengas,
very good. Quiero que vengas. And you will hear, actually, in Spain, venga, venga, venga. They use it all the time, meaning come on, come on. Venga, vale. They say vale as well in Spain. Venga, vale. You will hear this all the time. When a Spanish person is hanging up the telephone, you can hear 15 of them. Venga, vale, vale, venga, venga, vale. So this venga that you will hear around a lot will be a nice hook to remember that this go goes to ga. Actually, when somebody is answering the phone in Spain, you might hear diga or dígame. What does that mean? Dígame.
Tell me.
tell me,
Yes, the mood tense by itself is an order. For a positive order, then we have the me after the verb, dígame. So you will hear people answering the phone like this in Spain. Tell me, dígame. So traer was to bring. What is I bring?
Traigo.
traigo,
Traigo. And what is you bring, speaking informally?
traigas,
This is the mood tense,
Oh.
but we don't want the mood tense. We just want you bring informally.
Traes.
traes,
Traes. Good.
Traes.
But if you say I want you to bring it, how would you say that? I want you to
Quiero
bring it
que lo
informally.
Traigas.
quiero que lo traigas,
Very good. Quiero que lo traigas. I don't want you to distract me. I don't want you to distract me. Still informal.
Distraigas.
no quiero que me distraigas,
Very good. No quiero que me distraigas. I don't want you to distract me. Very good. We can identify this group of go verbs and expect them to go to ga when they are in the subjunctive or the mood tense. So I leave from salir is
Salgo.
salgo,
salgo. And if I want to tell somebody leave formally,
Salga.
salga,
salga. And if I want to tell more than one person,
Salgan.
salgan,
good. And if I want to tell them don't leave,
no salgan,
no salgan. Good. Poner was to put. I put.
Pongo.
pongo,
Pongo. Good. Let's speak formally. Put it here. Put it here.
Póngalo aquí.
Lo ponga aquí.
And where does that lo go with positive commands?
Póngalo aquí.
Good. Póngalo aquí. But
Póngalo
don't put it
aquí.
here.
No lo ponga
No lo
aquí.
ponga aquí.
Very good. No lo ponga aquí.
No lo
We
ponga
saw
aquí.
with regular verbs that we have a shortcut where we don't use the mood tense for informal positive commands. So if I want to tell you to eat, I can just say come. I go to comes and I drop the S. Come. If I want to tell you to find it, I can go to encontrar, encuentras, I can drop the S, encuéntralo. That's our shortcut for informal positive commands where we don't use the mood tense. With these go verbs, to make that shortcut, you just drop the go. So for example, how do you say I have from tener?
Tengo.
Tengo.
Tengo. If you want to tell somebody informally have, you just drop the go.
Ten.
Ten. Have it.
Tenlo.
Tenlo.
Yes, tenlo.
So we don't see tenga.
For formal. But we're now looking at the shortcut that we have for informal. So how would you say have it, speaking formally?
Téngalo.
Téngalo. But informally, we're not using the mood tense. We have a shortcut. It's just different to the shortcut we learned before. The shortcut is just dropping the go. Tenlo. A nice way to remember this is how you will see people in many Spanish-speaking countries answering the phone. Either dígame, formally, or dime, informally. What is I come?
Vengo.
Vengo.
And how do you tell somebody formally to come?
Formally, venga.
Venga.
Venga. Now how would you make it informal?
Ven.
Ven.
Then. Good. So I should mention that the venga that you hear in Spain as come on is not necessarily formal. It's lost that feeling of formality because it's like a fixed expression. So venga, venga you hear all the time. And then ven will sound much more like come, physically come, rather than come on. Venga, venga, venga is used like come on. What was to leave or to go out?
Salir.
Salir.
Salir. I leave or I go out?
Salgo.
Salgo.
Salgo. Leave, speaking informally?
Sal.
Sal.
Sal. We can just drop the go. I say or I tell is digo. If you want to say tell me formally, how is it?
Dígame.
Dígame.
Dígame. If you want to make that same command informally, how will it be?
Dime.
Dime.
Dime. Good. So both things you hear when people answer the phone in Spain. Dime, dígame. And in other countries, in other Spanish-speaking countries as well. So for go verbs, they will go to ga to form the mood tense. And for the orders, the shortcut for the informal positive order, they will just drop this go. So, if you want to say, tell me when you come, speaking informally, how would that be?
Dime cuando vienes.
Dime cuándo vengas.
Good. After
Oh, because venir is also a go verb, so vengas.
cuando, we're using the mood tense because we're referring to the
Dime
future.
cuando
Dime
vengas.
cuando vengas. Tell me when you come. How would you say tell me when you do it? And the
Dime cuando hacer. Cuando lo
speak formally now. Tell me
hacer.
when you do it. Speaking formally.
Dígame cuánto lo haga.
Oh, hago is haga.
Very good. Dígame cuando lo haga. Good.
Okay. Did 3 tracks. Gonna wrap up today. I have 5 more tracks to do. So I'll get to those tomorrow and the day after, likely. Thanks for tuning